Hello everyone. In this video, I will be talking about the characteristics of common stock. Common stock represents partial ownership of a company. So if you are a common stock shareholder of a company, then you are the partial owner of the company. So you are the partial owner of the company means you will share profit and losses, and at the same time you have to burn liabilities which will be limited by the amount of investment. Now, typically when a company is registered, the company is registered with an amount of capital, which is known as authorized share capital. So it's basically the number of shares that can be issued by the company over its life. It's known as authorized share capital. So companies time to time issue shares from this authorized capital. So the amount of shares issued is known as issued capital. If a company wants to change its authorized capital, then the company needs to get approval from its shareholders. So most of the issued shares are held by investors, which, as I said, known as issued and outstanding capital. Some part of the issued capital or issued shares sometimes may be repurchased back by the company, which is known as repurchase share, and the part of the share that is repurchased is known as issued by but not outstanding. Now, as I already mentioned that a corporation is owned by its common stockholders. What do we mean when we say that these stockholders own the corporation? The answer is obvious. If the company has issued no other securities, consider the simplest possible case of a corporation financed solely by common stock, all of which is owned by company's chief executive officer, CEO. This lucky owner manager receives all the cash flows and makes all investments and operating decisions. She has complete cash flow rights and also complete control rights. These rights are split up and relocated to others as soon as company borrows money. If it takes out a bank loan, it enters into a contract with the bank promising to pay interest and eventually repay the principal. The bank gets a privilege but limited rights to cash flows. The residual cash flow rights are left with the stockholders. Thus, common stock is known as a residual claim on the firm's assets and cash flows. Why residual claim? Because in the event of a liquidation, the claims of the lenders or the bondholders will be paid before any claim of the shareholders are paid back. Now, with regard to voting rights, in most companies, stockholders elect directors by a system which is known as majority voting. In this case, each director is voted upon separately, and stockholders can cast one vote for each share that they own. If a company's articles permits cumulative voting, in that case, the directors are voted upon jointly, and stockholders can, if they wish, allot all their votes to just one candidate. Cumulative voting makes it easier for a minority group among the stockholders to elect directors who will represent the group's interest. On many issues, a simple majority of vote cast is sufficient to carry the day, but the company charter may specify some decisions that require a supermajority, say 75% of eligible vote. For example, a supermajority vote is sometimes needed to approve a merger. Now, dual class shares and private benefits. Usually, companies have one class of common stock and each share has one vote. Occasionally, however, a firm may have two classes of stock outstanding, which differs in their right to vote. For example, when Google made its first issue of common stock, the founders were reluctant to give up control of the company. Therefore, the company created two classes of shares. The A shares, which were sold to public, had one vote each, while the B shares, which were owned by the founders, had 10 votes each. Both classes of shares had the same cash flow rights, but they had different control rights. When there are two classes of stocks, stockholders with extra voting power may sometimes use it to toss out bad management or to force management to adopt policies to enhance shareholders' value. But as long as both classes of shares have identical cash flow rights, all shareholders benefits equally from such changes. So here is the question. If everyone gains equally from better management, why do shares with superior voting power typically sell at a premium? The only plausible reason is that there are private benefits captured by the owners of the shares. For example, a holder of a block of voting shares might be able to obtain a seat on the board of directors or access to perquisites provided by the company. The shares might have extra bargaining power in an acquisition. Now, preferred stock. Preferred stock is also a type of stock. So if you are a preferred stockholder of a company, you are also partial owner to the company. However, a preferred stock is more similar to a debt. Like debt, preferred stock offers a series of fixed payments to investors. That means in the case of common stock, the dividend is not pre-specified, whereas in the case of a preferred stock, dividend is pre-specified. And the company can choose not to pay a preferred dividend, but in that case, it may not pay a dividend to its common shareholders as well. Most issues of preferred are known as cumulative preferred stock. This means that the firm must pay all preferred dividends before common stockholders get a cent. If the company does miss a preferred dividend, the preferred stockholders generally gain some voting rights so that the common stockholders are obliged to share control of the company with the preferred shareholders. Directors are also aware that failure to pay preferred dividends earns the company a black mark with investors, so they do not take such a decision pretty lightly. So this is the end of our discussion on equities. In the next video, we will be talking about debts. Thank you.